Hi and welcome to Hedgehog Hollow and welcome to Sunday Stamping with Elizabeth Craft Designs. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute penguin card that I got in my recent haul from Elizabeth Craft Designs. We're going to be talking about different shades of grey, some Copic colouring techniques and lots more as well. So let's get started. So today I'm working with the Elizabeth Craft Design penguins that you saw in my big unboxing, which will be linked in the top right hand corner of your screen right now, so you can watch that after we're done here. And I've chosen to use this little guy here with his gift and his lovely little earmuffs and things and this lovely scarf. So let's stamp him out first of all. Let's move all this out of the way. I'm using some Neenah Solar White today. And I'm going to stamp out with My Favourite Things Hybrid Black because I'm going to be colouring with Copics. Now I use the My Favourite Things Black because it's a one size fits all ink, and you'll also see throughout the video little videos flash up that I think are related to this one, and one of those will be on about black inks and the fact they are not all created equal. Although we all seem to think that black ink is a black ink, depending on what colour mediums you want, depends on what black ink you should be using. Now the one thing with the hybrid ink is you can mix colour mediums, so you can do watercolour and alcohol ink colouring in the same image, and you don't need to worry about what ink you use because the hybrid element of it allows you to use both. So I'm just inking this up twice so that we've got a nice strong image in there. And I'm using my mini Misti to stamp it out. And then I've got a nice selection of Copics here as well. So I've got some light cool blues, some cool greys, some warm greys, and also some red shades. So I'm going to separate those out so that I like to have a pile for each one. And then I've chosen sort of 3 complementary shades within each of those colour families. So that my cool greys, my warm grey, my blues are over here, and I've also got some reds that I'm going to keep to the side. So let's start off with his tummy, and I'm going to start off with my W00, and I have got an alcohol ink skill builder currently on the blog, and I'll link that playlist up for you throughout this video as well. So do check out those links when you see them pop up in the top right. You can click on them as a watch later. So I'm going to start with that W00, and then I'm going to work into a W2 and then into a W4. So I'm just adding some depth to his tummy, and I'm paying particular attention to the bottom and around the edges of those bows. So a good rule of thumb when you're colouring is any areas that make a V shape you want to be making into a darker shade, and then I'm going to go back through and blend all this together. So you get some nice depth in there. Then I'm going to do again the same above here. And I'm going to work my way around here. And I keep working through the 00, then the 2, and then the 4. And then go back with the 00 and blend again. Now, if you want to learn more about Copic colouring, there are some great resources. We've got the Alcohol Markers Skill Builder on the Hedgehog Hollow YouTube channel. Sandy Allnock also does a great Copic series, and Copic themselves do classes. I'm going to some of their classes in Columbus in October to learn more about alcohol ink techniques. So I'm just blending this all in together. I'm also going to give him a little red beak. I'm going to use my R14 for that. Now I will list all of these Copic colours on the blog as well for you, so don't worry if you miss any of them. I'm going to use my cool greys to colour in what would be the black part of the penguin, and I'm going to start again with a nice light colour. So I'm starting with this C0, and I'm going all over that edge, and then we'll go back in with some tones so that we can blend him or her in. And I'm also going to go over their arms. Then I'm going in with a C3. And this whole panel down here I'm going to make dark, and then I'm going to fade it out. So you can see I'm just doing flicks because I want nice soft colour that I can blend. I'm also going to be using a bit of C7. Again, some nice soft brush strokes. And I really urge you, if you're using alcohol markers, to practice with different brush strokes, because you will get completely different results. Sometimes you want the traditional colouring, sometimes you want to colour in a circle, sometimes you just want a flick, sometimes you want to flick backwards and forwards. So different brush strokes, really do experiment with them, because you'll find you get some really great variations in your projects. So I'm just going back with that C0 and blending all of that together. So you can see how he's got some lovely lights and darks in there. Now on his toes, although I started with a C0, I'm also going to go in with a little bit of R12. Because they do have sort of a pinkish orange tone to their flippers, I assume that they're called. And then I'm going to go back with my greys. So I just want that pinky undertone in there. So that is my C3. Now I'm going to move on to my C7. So I'm going to pick out these areas here. So again, I'm picking out those V areas. I'm going to do a very small touch with that C10. So there are lots of different C's in, or sorry, different tones of grey in Copics in particular, and they range from cools, which are your C greys, your T's, which are your toner greys, your W's, which are your warm greys, and your N's, which are your neutral greys. So there's lots of different tones within those. The warm greys have more of the browns and reds and warm colours. The cools have the red. The tonals, I'm not entirely sure what they put inside the tonals, but then the neutrals are your pure greys as well. So you can see there, he's really coming together. So then we're going to look at our little head muffs here. So I've got a B00, a B01 and a B02. So again, I'm going to start in exactly the same way. And I'm going to start off with my lightest colour, which is my B00, because I really wanted to give it a nice frosty feel, because we've got some lovely warm paper to pop our penguin onto. So now I'm going to go with my 01. Again, I'm going to flick towards the middle, because the middle wants to be the lightest bit. And here I'm working in a circular motion, because I want his earmuffs to look all fluffy. And again, I'm going to go back in with that lightest, which is my B00. If, like me, you coloured over the line, you can go back in with whatever shade you put there. And we can put some of that colour back in to blend it. They're alcohol markers, so if you add alcohol, you're going to reactivate them, and that allows you to blend in any oversights. There's also a colourless blender that will help you remove colour as well. I'm also going to do the flippers, or his wings, here. So start with that C0, then our C3, then our C7, finally our C10, and then we're going to go back with that C0 and blend all of that in. Now the final thing we want to do is our scarf and our present. Excuse me. I'm going to do the bow on our present in these lovely blue colours. And then I'm going to colour the gift and most of the scarf in the red, but I'm just going to add some hints of the blue so that it all ties together nicely. And I'm going back with that 01. And the one thing I would say with alcohol markers is they're really down to practice. So I have been going 10 years, I still have a lot to learn, but they really are just a practice makes perfect medium. I'm entirely self-taught, so I'm really looking forward to going to the Copic classes and learning more from them. So we'll blend all of that together. And now we can add our reds. So again, I'm choosing 3 tones of red, the R12, the R14 and the R17. So I'm going to go in with my lightest shade everywhere. Then I'm going to go with my medium shade, then my dark shade, and then I go back to my light shade again. Okay. I'm going to go back in with a little bit of blue in some of those areas, because I forgot the ends of his scarf. So I'm just going to grab a mid-tone blue and fill those in. And if you wonder why I'm a little bit quieter than usual, I'm concentrating on my colouring. So again, I'm going to be adding lots of tones. And I'm just scribbling in some of those mid-tones. And the reason we do this is we want to saturate the paper with the alcohol so that we get the nice tones and blending in there, which is why we tend to start with our lightest shade and then we come back with those other shades. So now I'm going in with the R17. As you get darker and darker, you add less and less because you really just want to accentuate some of those areas. So I'm just filling in those edges and then I'm going to go back and blend with the R12. And the reason we go back and blend is we don't want any harsh edges. You want everything to look like a nice natural transition, as though it really does have those depth and shadows, which we would expect. So once you've gone over there, so that's our final finished image. Now the one thing I do want to do is add a little bit of W00 just around the edges here, so it doesn't look like he's standing in midair. It really does look like he's standing somewhere. So I'm just adding that around his thing. And I'm also going to add some cool greys. There's no reason you can't add different shades of grey, and of course he is going to be somewhere cold. He's a penguin, he's got his earmuffs on, so we want to add that little bit of coolness as though it looks like he's in a nice cool spot. So there's our finished image there. Now I'm going to cut that out using some Waffle Flower Lacy Layers dies that I've got here. And I think I'm going to use this one, which he should fit in nicely. I'm just moving him around to make sure he fits perfectly. And I'm going to use some of my TAMIYA masking tape. Thinking actually he may fit better that way. There we go. I've got my Big Shot plates here ready. So I'm just running this through my Vagabond here. You can slide him out. And you get this lovely little lacy edge to him. And the great thing is we can layer this up with some other items as well. So I have pre-cut some pattern paper here, which we can cut in the same lacy layers. Again, I'm going to use that piece of tape, and I keep little bits next to me all the time. I'm going to put one at either end here. And I use the TAMIYA tape because it's quite a low tack masking tape. It's actually used for airfix models and things like that, and it's really lovely to work with on your cards. I've never had any issues with tearing or any of those kinds of things. I'm just going to peel that away. lots of bits stuck to the side of my work area there. I'm just trying to work out, and that's the card base. So that is our 2 layers. And I did have this all pre-cut, so I was just making sure I picked up the right pieces. I have a card base here, half a sheet of Neenah Solar White, cut lengthways. And I'm just going to fold this down and grab my little bone folder, which is escaping me this evening. Then I'm going to stick all of these layers down, and then I'm going to foam this so it's got a little bit of dimension. So let me grab my Tonic Funky Tape Runner, not that one. And you'll notice that the Copics have come through. Now they will do that if you don't use a porous paper, they sit on the surface and you'll get a huge amount of bleeding. Whereas if you use a porous paper and you saturate it, it's got somewhere for the ink to go. So this is a great little tape runner if you haven't seen me use it before. I do also love the Elizabeth Craft Designs tear tape. I've got every, I think, size in my drawer, and it's super, super strong for lots of layers. But we're going to use some foam today, and I just have this big roll, as you can see. And now we can stick this down onto our card base. So this is another Christmas card idea for you. Just peeling off my tape backs, and then we can stick it on. So there we are. So there's another one of our Christmas cards done with the gorgeous new release. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Do click that subscribe button. I've also got the subscribe button for the Elizabeth Craft Designs channel coming up for you, and also some other recommended videos that I thought you might enjoy. Now, thank you so much for joining me today. Do join me again next month for another Sunday stamping. All your supplies are linked below the video and on the Elizabeth Craft Design blog and the Hedgehog Hollow blog, which are in the descriptions below the video. For a desktop, just click that Show Me More button below the video title. And for those of you on mobile devices, click the arrow in the bottom right hand corner. You can also see on your screen, I've been scrolling through some of the photos we took of this card. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again very soon. Happy stamping! Bye!